on several occasions, I've gotten very, very positive comments about the setting at which we film A Call to Action. A lot of people say, well, it's such a beautiful setting and the surroundings are so good that it looks so peaceful and so comfortable, and it just kind of reminds you of, with the furniture of a few years ago, like it's antique. Well, I'm here to report to you that we filmed A Call to Action at the Ruth, Hartley, Mosley Memorial Women's Center. And the reason that it's so comfortable and so beautiful and so attractive and so warming is because this was the home of a beautiful and attractive and industrious and ambitious, not only entrepreneur, not only a socialite, but also a philanthropist. So I'm just so happy to be able to be at the Ruth Hartley Mosley Memorial Women's Center doing taping an interview with the executive director of this center in the person of Miss Gerri Mccord. This is a call to action.
A call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Habersham, and as I said, I'm here at this beautiful facility, and if you haven't been here, you need to come. It has a lot of history, a lot of heritage, and a lot of other things with which you should be familiar. And I'm also very happy to be interviewing a young lady who has done a phenomenal job in keeping the center going, revibrating, if you please, and revitalizing this historic facility in the person of Executive Director Miss Gerri Mccord. So let's talk a little bit about the facility, and the circumstances surrounding it still being here.
Okay. Thank you for this opportunity. And I'm excited to be here as well. Mrs. Mosley, well, let's just go back and say this was Mrs. Mosley's home in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, 60s, and 70s. Something that you just don't hear a lot about Black people owning such glorious surroundings. And Mrs. Mosley was, like you said, she was a businesswoman, an entrepreneur, and most of all, a philanthropist. And that's how this came about, because she was the first Black registered nurse in Macon, Georgia.
Wow.
And she had a mission. She was a visionary person. And she acquired quite a lot of wealth through her endeavors, being the first Black nurse. She also was a funeral home owner, and I'm sure that's probably when the funds started actually coming in. And she just wanted to, she wanted to give back to the community that gave to her. Mrs. Mosley was a giver, and it was important to her that she give back to the community that gave to her. And that's how this home came about. When she died, she left a trust for this home to be used as a community gathering spot,
Wow.
with a focus on really addressing the needs of women. And that's what we primarily do, but it's also used as an intimate events venue facility. And that was her wish, and that's what we're carrying out.
Okay, and then I'm glad you said intimate, because I just can't get over that little old jazz set with, what's her name?
Sean Brown.
Sean Brown singing Billie Holiday. And she did it in this room, and it was phenomenal. I mean, Sean can really sing, and we need to do that again. And then I just want to plug it, assist you by plugging the fact that if, in fact, one is interested in doing some kind of intimate event, either a wedding reception, or a small family, or reunion, or a little jazz concert, or something of that nature, this would be an excellent facility. What other kind of events?
Well, please check our website. Just last Sunday we had a young woman introducing her new line of candles and gifts wares right here in the center, and it was unbelievable. Sometimes people have a hard time visualizing what you can do in here by just looking, but we do have a catalog with various types of events that have been held here, and it's an excellent, excellent place for, like I said before, intimate gatherings. We've had small weddings here, we've had family dinners, bridal shower, baby showers, and things of that nature. And lots of organizations hold their monthly meetings here. We've had Alumni Association award scholarships to students sitting right here in this room. And I think these are the kinds of things Mrs. Mosley had in mind. And, you know, and I want the community to realize this is where a lot of things started. You know, in 1978, when the doors opened here, there was not a lot of places for especially black people to have intimate affairs. And we also had workforce development, training young ladies for nursing assistants and office skills. And now other places are doing it, and people have forgotten about this is where it started. And so I want people to remember this is where it started. You always have to give back to the foundation. And I want to plug another thing while we're talking too. You know, right now I don't know of any other black homestead that's in Macon, Georgia, of this caliber. So please remember and help us. We could use your donations. You know, this is on the National Historical Registry. So when we have things repaired, we have to get it approved, and it's going to cost a little more money than the average person can afford to do. And, you know, when you don't add to foundations or funds, they deplete. So we're at that stage now where the funds are depleting, but I can't let this legacy die because the funds are depleting. And I really encourage the Macon community to really join me in making sure that we preserve this legacy. Mrs. Mosley has a quote up at the fountain, you know, and that's a plus. What she says, don't let anybody tell you you can't achieve because of what you don't have. You're capable of achieving. You know, if you got the mind, the body, and the energy and the education, the world is yours to conquer.
And she's talking about that fountain over at Tatna Square Park, which is a phenomenal fountain. Well, I mean, since you own it, you know, I know there are some people jumping up and down about getting ready to write a check. Just go ahead and tell them where to send the check.
That's right, but please write a check. It can be $1, $2, $5, $5,000 to the Ruth Hartley Mosley Center at 626 Spring Street, Macon, Georgia, 31201. We have a website and we have a Facebook, so please go out and just see what's going on here. And I'm glad for this opportunity too to just thank Mr. Habersham for his contribution and help us bring this center back to life. You brought outstanding guests through the doors, people that had no idea we were here, and they've left with a renewed interest and a renewed appreciation for what Macon has to offer. And we work with other organizations in the community to make sure that we are getting the word out about the legacy that Mrs. Mosley left to the city of Macon.
Well, it's such a pleasure being here, and obviously I feel very strongly about the center. As a matter of fact, I hired a young lady. At the time I was chairman of the Board of Tax Assessors. I hired a young lady named Lori Howard, you know, who was in that workforce development program. And she went to the tax assessor's office, and she's done very well. She got an MBA. I befriended her on LinkedIn. So this was the beginning for a lot of success for a lot of people. But then there are also the capabilities of doing other kinds of training sessions, right?
That's right. Mm-hmm. We have an education annex with a computer lab, classrooms. If there are small businesses that need a place for, you know, job training for their staff, please contact me because we have the facility here for your use. Like I say, the computer lab, classrooms, and it's separate from the house. So we do have the facilities, and I always stress the word intimate because I don't want anybody to be misled about who we are, what we do. We are an intimate setting, an intimate facility. The most we can house in terms of a stand-up reception is about 75. So sit-down affair, about 40.
Yeah, that's outstanding, and that makes it real intimate because the aura of, you know, the facility, the painting, and the hardwood floors, and the antique furniture, etc., really makes one feel good. And you know, this is Black History Month. Well, let me admonish you on something. No, let me encourage you on something. That is, you know, as a part of your awareness of African American history, or whatever you want to call it, just come through the Ruth Mosley Center. You know, it's a little bucket out there. This ain't no Baptist church, but you know, I mean, it's a little bucket outside where you can make a donation or you can write a check. But you know, this is Black history. You know, this is a legacy. This is an opportunity for you to give back and to support something that's very, very important to the community. And if, in fact, Mrs. Mosley thought it would not be robbery for her to leave a figure with several zeros on it, you know, as a part of her legacy, to set up a foundation and what have you, to try to improve the community, then it's incumbent upon us to make sure that it's continuing. We're going to delve right, this is a call to action.
A call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Habersham, interviewing Miss Gerri Mccord, who is the executive director of this historic and contributory facility, and this is Black History Month. So let's talk a little bit about what you're going to be doing for Black History.
We always enjoy Black History Month. This year, we have several activities planned. The first one will be on Thursday, February the 18th. Jean Herring is a Macon night. Some of you may remember her as Elsie Jean Clowers. She wrote the book, the Black American series on Macon, Georgia. She's the author of that book, and she will be in town. And her topic is the indelible mark left on Macon by its enterprising Black residents. Please join us and welcome Mrs. Herring back to Macon. And on Thursday, February the 25th, we will have Mr. Lonnie Davis. He wrote a small little booklet on Georgia's African Brigade. Back after the Civil War, the president during that time engaged his army generals to recruit slaves to go into the military. And they went from slaves to soldiers. And during that time, there were 3 brigades of colored soldiers. One was in Atlanta, one was in Macon, and one was in Augusta. Those 3 brigades. And after the Civil War, once they were recruited to become soldiers, they didn't have uniforms. And the kicker is, they put the black former slaves that got converted to soldiers into Confederate uniforms because that was all available at the time. So it's a fascinating story, and I really urge you to come out and hear that story. And on the 27th of February, we will be partnering with Macon Historic Society and the H&H restaurant. We will have the Cotton Avenue Roll, which will start with a biscuit bar and breakfast reception here at the Mosley Center. And after the reception, you will get on the trolley, and Mr. George Muhammad will take you on a trolley tour of historical African American sites. So, several of the sites you will be able to go inside and just tour the interiors of several historical sites. I know several churches and other black-owned businesses. As you know, Cotton Avenue used to be the black business district of Macon, Georgia. So it'll give you a chance to really hear about those, the black-owned businesses and other historical sites in Macon, Georgia.
Drugstores, banks,
Thanks. I mean,
hotels.
I mean,
you
right,
know,
black
pharmacists, real estate companies,
upholstery companies.
upholstery, all right here, over there on Cotton Avenue. So it's important, and the truth of the matter is, you know, there's an old expression that says, if it is to be, it's up to me.
Right.
And after we finish this interview, we're gonna interview a young man, Jacquez, I hope I pronounced it right, who so adopted that attitude, if it is to be, it's up to me.
Okay.
Young man doing some great things. And we need people, and I'm glad that he's here with us. Because we need young people to continue Ms. Mosley's legacy and other Cotton Avenue legacy and other legacies that would be important to the continuation of this community. Let me thank you in closing for all that you do. I know what you've done to revitalize this center, to keep it alive, to help it grow, to make the community familiar with it. And I applaud you, and I want to encourage, you know, everyone, you know, just come on by, come to one of those activities. I'm sure that these activities are on the website,
Ruth Hartley Mosley Center.
www.ruthhartleymosleycenter.com. www.ruthhartleymosleycenter.com, 478-742-6409. The executive director is Miss Gerri Mccord, and this is a call to action. One of the things that's important to the advancement and the continuation of a community or of a people is to make sure that the process is cyclical, which means that it begins somewhere, but something happens to make sure that it continues. And I'm more than a little happy and pleased as it relates to the posture and the position of African American males in our community, young people in general, but males in particular. You know, I've been a bit concerned about the legacy being continued. And the other thing that has concerned me tremendously is that sometimes we as, you know, older African American males forget our responsibility to the younger generation. And when I just happened to happen across a young man who in fact thought it would not be robbery again to involve himself and young people, his peers, his colleagues, and younger African American males in a program and an activity to try to make sure that they are prepared, you know, socially, academically, educationally, psychologically, to be the leaders, you know, to take the reign. Because, you know, unfortunately, you know, although I tell people I'm gonna live to be 150, you know, nobody believes it. Well, if I'm not gonna live that long, and if I in fact am concerned about our community, then it seems to me that all of us who are in position and who have matured would be concerned about the legacy and the continuation of African American males throughout the community and throughout the country. This is a call to action.
A call to action.
So I have with me a young man, you know, who fits the mold of what I would like to see as it relates to the development and the advancement of African American males in our community. And you know, he got all these names, you know, Luxlife and Jacquez and everything. But first, just take the time and introduce yourself. And you know, if we have to go over a little bit, this is so important, we'll just go.
Okay. Afternoon again, Mr. Habersham, and it's a pleasure to be here. My name is Jacquez Jarrell Harris. I am from Dry Branch, Jeffersonville, Georgia, and living in the great city of Macon, Georgia. I have done a few things recently, but what I have been striving to do my entire life is to keep a good reputation, to really plant some seeds and watch the harvest grow. What we're trying to do here in Macon is something that has been done, and it's lost its way a little bit, but we're reaching out to our youth. I built a platform for myself and named it Luxlife. And some people say, well, what is Luxlife? Luxlife is a web series or a social media campaign to introduce or reintroduce positive lifestyle living. We just want to believe that luxury or luxuriousness is about Mercedes-Benz and 10-story homes, if you will. However, that's not the magnitude of Lux. Lux is an inner peace. It's an inner excitement that focuses on love, peace, joy, and happiness. And being Lux is doing what it is that you find joy and peace within. It may be Saturday morning sitting on your front porch with your wife or with your husband, enjoying a glass of lemonade and just talking about the goodness of Christ. It may be just talking about Sunday school. It may be talking about the upbringing of this generation, but not just talking. The look should be, how can we help? That platform has helped me to put together a camp, a boys camp, and we did that a few Mondays ago on King Holiday, actually. That camp consisted of much, but I'm sure we'll get there. But what myself, along with, and I love to name drop. People say they hate to name drop, but I love to name drop people like Amber Jones, Anthony Smith, Paul Brunson, Danny Glover. The list goes on. Amaris Hawkins. The list goes on and on about the young folk.
Young folk, I like that.
We're just hitting 30. What we see a need, because these are educators, these are business owners, these are politicians. These people have gotten together, and that's something that we lack in our generation. Something that I saw you do, and Miss Elaine Lucas or Commissioner Elaine Lucas. It's a force to be reckoned with collaboratively, and some kind of way down through the years, everyone kind of individualized. And what this group is doing, we're bringing it back together. We live here, we work here, we eat here, we dine here. Why not have a hand in helping the generation under us understand and realize what it is that this city has to offer and maximize?
So what kind of activities have you done other than that, and really what future activities do you have in mind?
Luxlife actually put a platform out for entrepreneurs like Tally Marshall and so on and so forth, to kind of position back in a professional manner. What they do is very professional, but they had no platform to endorse them in a positive light on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, other than their self-promotions. Myself, along with friends, wanted to build a platform to say, here's what we have here in Macon. This is what we're all about. Collaboratively, we are a force to be reckoned with, and we are the best of the best. The King Camp, really, these same friends came back again and helped me put this boys camp together on King Holiday. This camp really empowered young men to know that they are kings, every way imaginable. We talked about professionalism, we talked about firm handshakes and eye contact, we talked about professional attire, how to tie ties, how to tie bow ties. A friend of mine, Trevante Basley from Dry Branch, the Executive Director of Information Technology for the Board of Education there, once again, another young man who's making a mark in his way, came in and talked about affirmations and how to write a check. He had all the young men write a check to themselves and what they want to make in the aspect of funds for their lifetime. And he had to write an affirmation on the back of that check as into, this is what I will do,
right, and
I will succeed. Wonderful portion of the day. We had DeAndre Hall and a friend of his come in from law enforcement here in Macon and do a segment on demonstrations, how to interact with the police department, how to interact when we get pulled over. Wonderful time needed and a timely situation that needed to be addressed. Amber Jones gave a presentation on chivalry. Is chivalry dead? And she encouraged our young men to be young men towards ladies.
Right.
How to talk, how not to talk, or what to do. She did an amazing job.
Sure she did.
Pastor Dominique Johnson came in and taught our young men, or reiterated to our young men how to pray and say grace in public. The day was full. Miss Tanya Parker started the morning off with invocation, if you would. And she read an article after that, just telling the young men that they are kings and that these queens need some kings in their lives.
That's right.
It was an extraordinary day. We served breakfast, we served lunch. We dismissed at about 3:30, 8:30 to 3:30. We had a great celebration, and we also attended Stewart Chapel for King Day celebration. And
I saw y'all walking up the street.
we saw you at H&H. We had a great time. Commissioner Elaine Lucas met us out front, took pictures with us, and just endorsed what we were doing. And Mr. Habersham, that's where my generation sits. Endorsements. We use the excuse that they don't want to hear what we have to say. We're too young for them. That they're going to tell us that we don't know what we're talking about. But I found that to be an excuse. If I could get sponsorship for a one-day camp, if I could bring all my friends together and call in on the Ask Elaine show and come in and have an interview with Mr. Habersham, there's no excuse. There's no excuse. So they say they're just letting us have a little shine right now. They're really not going to listen.
Now, let me understand what you're saying because I want to address this.
Okay.
So you're saying that the younger generation seems to feel that the older and the mature generation does not have at-heart interest
Absolutely.
in y'all.
Absolutely. And I know that to be completely false.
Well, I mean, but then there's a premise for that. And just to be brutally honest, because, I mean, we owe it, really. I mean, you all shouldn't have to ask us, you know, who's the adult in the room, you know? We should be asking you. So I'm going to encourage, you know, each one reach one, each one teach one. And I'm so glad to see this because we hear a lot of complaints about our boys and about our young people, but boys in particular. So I want to congratulate you on what you've done and what you're doing. So, I mean, is the activity basically you're going to do camps, or you're going to try to maybe let this evolve into a mentoring program, or just where do you want to go with?
And I love the way you phrased it. Let it evolve, and that's what I definitely want this to do. I want it to evolve. I want it to touch and agree with churches, to touch and agree with our education system. I want this to expand. We can't teach it all in a day. It can't be a one-time thing. That definitely can't happen. But with anything, it takes funds to do this, and I've allocated funds for this, but I don't want to do it on my own. I won't even try to do it on my own. I know there are resources, and I know there are people here in Macon, Georgia, that will really touch and agree and help fund things like this. So we're looking for excited, vigorous, talented men and women who have established some things in life, and those who are trying to establish some things, to kind of come in and give us brighter ideas. I may know how to do something, but I'm pretty sure there's someone else that can.
I know how to do it better.
And, you know how to do it better.
Just kidding.
So definitely, I don't have the master plan, if you will. I want it to be a collaborative effort because we're all in this together, and it takes a village to raise children. Paul Brunson is doing something extraordinary with our education system. He's met with the superintendent of schools. He started a foundation called Kingsman Foundation, and he's at Bogart. I think that's what the central office is, and he's going into the middle schools, high schools, I do believe, and working right alongside with teachers as a mentoring program. Awesome idea. Whereas he focused on Kingsmen and I focused on I Am King. We're one team, however, a foundation and a camp. I would love to see I Am King evolve to a summer program to teach our young men table etiquette, to teach our young men how to professionally dress versus wearing a weekend suit. There's a difference.
Yeah.
And fashion has confused that a little, whereas we don't know what quite to wear to an interview versus what we wear to church. Sometimes there's a difference, and there has to be a balance. We want to teach these young men how to change the tire on the car, because some of these young men come from single-parent homes, and then I'm on the side of the road with my mom. I need to know how to change that tire. We don't need to call anybody. We want to teach these young men how to cut grass. We want to teach these young men how to raise a garden. That's something that's been lost, and groceries aren't cheap. So we need to empower our young men to be self-sufficient.
Okay, let me ask you this, because we're about out of time. Is there a resource for your plan? I mean, is it on Facebook, or you got a fan page, or a website? Or?
we have a website, and it's JacquezJLuxlife.com. I am on Facebook. My Facebook page is all about positivity. It promotes I Am King, it promotes Kingsman, it promotes church services, it promotes anything positive.
But what I want to know is where can one go? You know, because is there a button on it where somebody can donate?
On the website, there definitely is a place.
Yeah.
JacquezJLuxlife.com. There's a place that you can donate and help fund I Am King. Reach me and inbox me on Facebook, Jacquez J Luxlife, Instagram, Jacquez J Luxlife. I have several forms of communication to be reached, and I am accessible. I am here in Macon, Georgia, pretty much every day, and I'm showing my face. I want to be known, not personally for personal gain, but I want to be known as I am someone that you can reach out and touch and help me help you.
Well, we're going to do that. And give that website again.
JacquezJLuxlife.com.
JacquezJLuxlife.com. This is a call to action.
A call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Habersham. Having interviewed fine young man, Jacquez J. Luxlife, and also known as Harris. And I want you all to support this effort, support this young man. How can one get in touch with you if they want to be serious about offering some assistance?
I love to take calls. 478-550-7513.
478-550-7513. Mr. Jacquez. This is a call to action.
A call to action.
It's great what you're doing, man.
Thank you.
Let me know how I can help.
Will do.
And those of you out there need to offer the same kind of assistance. Assistance. Have a great day.
www.makingblackpage